I think whoever created humankind had a great sense of humor. Robert Frost put on his tombstone the line from one of his poems. He had a lover's quarrel with the world. I don't have a lover's quarrel with the world, but I have a relationship with the world that's very weird and unusual, and I do love the idea that people were created to interact with each other and to produce stories that they could tell to each other to create a sense of enjoyment in life. But I do feel that I might be misunderstood as just writing about country yokels. I've written about a mythical place, Staymore, which exists only in the mind of the reader. There is no such place except in the mind of the reader. And that place must be seen to be populated by hillbillies. But those hillbillies are actually the parts of oneself that one recognizes in the process of encountering them, and thereby laughs at them, learns from them, has some kind of interaction with one's own self. In one of my very early novels, Some of the Place, the Right Place, the narrator, Dave, pauses at one point and says, "Oh, this is a story. You know it, don't you? Not the story of ghost towns where actual people lived and died, but the story of lost places in the heart." And it's been my drive as a novelist to seek out those lost places in the heart, and because I can't just shove them into your face and say, "Look at these lost places," I do it indirectly by having you discover these lost places in the people and the places that populate my book. Comedy is about something that elevates the emotions, or tries to see mankind and the world in such a perspective as to capture its foibles and its humorous aspects. I definitely prefer that in my work. I don't think of myself as a comic writer. I certainly am not a tragic writer. But I feel to have a book that's nothing but comedy, without any tragic relief, would be very tedious. So I tried to always throw a little tragic relief into my comedy and a little comic relief into my tragedy. I have never, to my knowledge, wept or giggled and woke up. I have a very low trigger point for laughter. I think I've laughed at my own writing maybe twice, 3 times. Things that people tell me are hilarious. And I might enjoy them, but I don't laugh out loud. I don't giggle. I don't feel outward mirth. And the same with crying. I'm trying to remember when a book made me laugh. Or made me cry. Can't think of it. I just don't show my emotions. It could be a kind of repression. When I was a child, or a small boy, I cried at the slightest thing, the least thing would set me boo-hooing all over the place. It was so bad that the next door neighbor once offered me 50 cents if I could go for a whole day without crying. I was never able to collect. And maybe so much was made of my crying when I was a child that I have just, over the years, steeled myself never, ever to cry again. Well, I had a dog all the years I was growing up. Her name was Dynamite, but it was like a girl's name, Dinah, and Mite meaning smile. Dynamite was just a cur, but I had her for at least 13 years of my life. And she just wandered off one day and never came back again. And if she had been run over by a car, I might have been able to experience it immediately directly. But I just had to gradually get used to the idea that the place was lost. Growing up in Rice Creek, I very early came to the conclusion that Rice Creek was lost, that it had once been much bigger than it was then, that it had a big general store, it had a hotel, it had a doctor's office, it had a bank, it was filled with buildings that had once been very active and busy, but now it was just a lost place in the road. The boat mitchell.
This is the house.
This is the hotel, this building, and the boat mitchell store next to it.
And that tree right there, Brian, that's that tree.
Right over there.
And in this one, here's the corner of the house. You see the tree has grown.
That was the boat mitchell store between the bank and the hotel. So I thought maybe the last of Drugs Week affected me more than the last. The two creeks in Rice Creek were Rice Creek itself and Hawks Creek, which ran into it. I went fishing and swimming in both Hawks Creek and Rice Creek, and developed a great love for freshwater fish, swimming in the creek. But all of that in Rice Creek is in Madison County, not Newton County. I didn't discover Newton County until I was in college, but I happened to be driving over there and saw how much more spectacular the mountain scenery was than it was back in Madison County. So when I came to invent Staymore, just as William Faulkner had moved Yachting up a Thurlow County, one county east from the actual Jefferson County, I moved Newton County, keeping its actual name. I moved it one county east from the actual Madison County. As I see it, the term metafiction applies to everything I've written. I have never written a conventional novel. All of my novels have some kind of tricks, devices, shifts in time, playing around with reality. The most conspicuous characteristic of metafiction is self-referentiality. By that I don't mean that they are about the characters that I base on myself, but the novel is in a sense toned in on its own self. The novel becomes aware of itself. The novel takes on an existence independent of just being a novel. That makes it metafictional. And to that extent, all of my books are metafictional. The one most metafictional is thought to be nonfiction. Let Us Build Us a City, supposedly the story of how a guy named Harington and a girl named John got together and explored these last towns of Arkansas. Those last towns are actual places filled with actual people, and Kim interviews those actual people, and Don transcribes her interviews and puts them into the book. But Let Us Build Us a City is basically a novel. It's a love story, but it's a novel in the form of a non-fiction traveler. The word Staymore comes right out of Vance Randolph. Vance Randolph's down in the holler, and it's lexicon at the end. That's Staymore, as common language of the Ozarks. Don't be rushing off, darling. Staymore, and have supper with us. I decided that I had a pretty good ear for regional speech, for mountain speech, for the way people on the hill country talk. So, when I began to write Lightning Bug, and I thought at the time that Lightning Bug would be my swan song to the region, that I had to get the Ozarks out of my system. So I would write Lightning Bug, and that would be it. And then I could go on to write more conventional novels, less regional novels. But after writing Lightning Bug, I discovered that I was just hooked. There was no way I could escape from the Ozarks. So I might as well settle down and realize that I had to devote the rest of my life to Staymore. I think Faulkner was reputed to keep family trees alive. The Thompsons and the Snopes and everyone else. I've never done that. I started out to do it once, and I listed all of the names on some sheets of yellow paper. And then I realized that I could just never come up with all of the names of the people of each one of the families. So I have, for the most part, confined the populace of Staymore to those people who have already been mentioned in the earlier books. When I was writing Architects of the Arkansas Ozarks, I got all of their names out of the names that had already been mentioned in Lightning Bug. And I could probably easily be caught up, and people could find that I had somebody married to somebody who was actually that person's grandmother, or some biological family relationships that are a result of my failure to keep records of the people. All of my books have acronyms, abbreviations, usually acronyms. For example, acronym for Let's Build a City was simply the first three letters, L-U-B, which spells love. And I think of Let's Build a City not just as a non-fiction novel, but as a love story. Architecture of the Ozarks, my brother pointed out to me that it made the acronym DAO, or double DAO. And DAO is a Chinese philosophy, Chinese way of life. And in a sense, the Ozarks, at least the English, are natural Taoists. In the case of cockroaches of Timor, it makes the acronym COSM. The cockroaches of Timor are a microcosm of humanity. Later is the goddess, the demon-goddess, as I call her, of the world of Timor. Dandelion Montrose is the tutelary spirit. Darling is the observer. You need those three to have a story. Notice, by the way, that Duff, Daniel, Donnie, they all start with these. They are parts of myself. Well, you have to make a distinction between people who are transparent and non-haunted, like G's circumstances, his age, his condition, his loss of hearing, all of that. G is clearly Harington. Then there are Harington surrogates, starting with Clifford in the Draper. Clifford is not like myself at all. He's a little guy. I tried to make him as unlike me physically as possible, but he has a lot of my characteristics and attitudes. Every one of my books has either a Harington surrogate or a Harington in disguise. I do it simply to make the book more immediate for the reader. If the reader can feel that here is this man who's telling me all of this, because he was not only there, he was involved in it. His involvement in it makes me feel more involved. My methods have not evolved at all. They've been consistent throughout. I think of an idea. For example, my first novel, the idea is have a character go home to his hometown and see what happens. I started writing page 1. Oliphant is the name of the tiny Jokewater town in northeast Arkansas, where the Missouri Pacific train I was riding to the broke down, etc. You start your first sentence and hope it gets you to the end of the paragraph. And that paragraph might suggest another paragraph. And then you just keep on writing. That has been my method throughout all of my novels, to simply have a rough idea of what the novel is going to be about and begin writing it. And let the sentences and paragraphs write themselves. So many of my novels were written before the internet or computers were invented. I simply went off to the library. I wrote my first 5 books on an old IBM Selectric typewriter. It wasn't old when I got it, it was brand new. And the idea of the type bars that I could change the font, that was the reason that Lightning Bug has those different typefaces provided. If I wanted to find out something for Lightning Bug, a Troy Pit, I would go off to the library. And it remained my habit for many years, right in the mornings, spend my afternoons at the library. It got so bad that at one point, Kim started following me over to the library to see if I was really going to the library and not sneaking off to see my lover or something. I quit going to the library. I discovered that anything I wanted to find out, I could probably find out on the internet. That is not strictly true. In my study right now, I have 6 or 7 books on women in mental institutions, which I'm reading in preparation for the passage of Enduring, in which Latha is committed to the state hospital in Iraq. They are filled with information I could not have found on the internet. It's just never been put on the internet. All of those notebooks, room binders, are just filled with research material for the various books. For example, in the case of Katerina, I wanted to know as much as possible about Spanisha, her homeland, and the Caucasus. I probably have enough material in those notebooks on Katerina to write 2 or 3 more novels set in Spanisha. But all of that was just intended for me to have some knowledge of what her homeland was like, and I probably, as I usually do, I overdid it. I over-researched. I'm deaf, but I can hear music, and I have written all of my novels with music on the phonograph. Some of my favorites are Beethoven's 5th Piano Concerto, Tchaikovsky's 1st Piano Concerto, Pouillyac's New World Symphony. You can probably find echoes of music that I listen to in the structure, the thematic complexity, the melody. I like to think that all my writing has a melody to it. Even my prose rhythms sometimes have a kind of lilting or lilting, as the case may be, melody. So music has a very important impact on this, definitely. Well, since my accident, I have not drunk at all, not that I've been aware of. But over the years, I've had dreams of abandoned houses. Probably the most common #1 dream that I dream over and over again is about a house that has been abandoned for a long time, or it's in need of being taken care of or restored. And I feel an obligation to do something, get my belongings out of it, or do something about the house to preserve it. When I was much younger, I used to have dreams of flying. But such dreams supposedly are a kind of symbol of transcendence, of wanting to escape from a terrible situation that you're in. I don't recall having one of those flying dreams for a long time. Kim and I are convinced that everything on earth is somehow under the sway, or at least the control of a force or a being whom we have chosen to call the fate thing. And to the extent that the fate thing is a spirit, and it certainly is a spirit, but it's a real spirit, and a spirit that I believe in. I've never seen the fate thing, but I devoutly believe that the fate thing is out there, or in here, and that the fate thing is watching over everything that happens to me, and to him, and to you. And the fate thing is controlling our destiny. Give you the most recent example. The fate thing usually comes to our rescue. When we're in a bad predicament, the fate thing bails us out, makes money come in from some unknown source, makes something good happen when things are bad. That invariably happens. So I ask him, why the hell would the fate thing allow me to be in an automobile wreck and break my ankle? And Kim thought about that and realized that the important thing about this recent accident, which we can go into more tomorrow, the important thing about this accident was that it hospitalized me so that the doctors could discover what bad condition I was in, particularly my lungs, which were riddled with pneumonia, and a bladder problem that was life-threatening. I could very easily have died from one of these other conditions if the fate thing had not put me in the hospital by simply cracking my ankle. No big deal. And tried to think of any passage from any of my novels that would be appropriate to read in celebration of my birth. And I'm sorry to confess that I simply cannot think of one. Can you?
That's the first time I've heard the question.
Yeah, well, I've heard the question and thought about it for several days.
That's the hardest.
If you backed me up against the wall and said, you better think of something or I'm going to pull the trigger, I would probably say the passage from some other place, the right place, which is about the birth of Daniel Allen Montrose. Montrose supposedly comes into this war fully cognitive, fully aware of everything that's going on, fully knowledgeable about who all of these strange people are around him, and from that point on, he knows it all. My father was a very severe man. He had a good sense of humor, which I probably inherited from him. He had absolutely no patience. He was very mean to my older brother and to me. My sister, my younger sister, said she developed a severe psychological problem, which her psychologist got her to realize was the result of the fact that by mercilessly beating on me and my brother, my father was showing us some attention that he denied her, and that she had always felt victimized by being denied the attention that my father's meanness to me and my brother had been displaying. But we, despite a very abrasive, rough relationship, whenever I was away from home, we kept up a constant correspondence. I have hundreds and hundreds of his letters. I don't know what happened to mine, to him, I've probably thrown away. But I have all of his letters. And I know his letters are a mixture of poor attempts at humor and just bits of news about the rest of the family. They were my main link with home when I was at the university, when I went away east to college. So I missed those letters after he died.
Okay.
I was 41 when he died. And I went to pieces. It made me realize that I probably had loved him a lot more than I was willing to admit. I wanted to realize. I really did cry. He was buried out at Wesley, which is a cemetery for Drake's Creek, because he knew that maybe when my mother died, she would want to be buried there beside him, and that was her country. So he asked to be buried in Wesley Cemetery. And at his funeral, I went out to pieces. I don't know whether to walk to my parents or my grandparents. I should say hello to the old folks. My mother and father. He pretended not to have read my books. That was the big pretense that he had to stick to. That he was glad to see this new book of mine, or why this one's so big that we're using it for a doorstop, and so on and so forth. He never admitted to reading one. My sister told me that he had read them all and loved them, was very proud of them. I'd only written 4 at the time he died. And I think he was especially fond of architecture of the Arkansas Ozark. But I think if he had lived, he probably would have liked With. With would probably have been his favorite book, because it's a combination of real life things that seem to be real, but just could not be possible. They're all communicating with each other in some way. With this shot full with enigmas and riddles and incongruities, illogical things. I think he would have liked all of that. My mother was just was a country girl. Since my father liked to terrorize people, my mother was his primary victim. He never abused her, to my knowledge. He never struck her. He spoke a lot of harsh words to her. He made her cry pretty often. But she was totally under his thumb. And I remember the point at which I stopped being such a loving son to her. I had my little red wagon out on the front sidewalk, and I was giving it a fresh coat of red paint. And I had neglected to spread newspapers under it. And I'd got a couple of drops of red paint on the sidewalk. My father came home. He was so outraged, And he took off his belt. His belt was his favorite instrument of punishment. He took off his belt and began lashing me with it as hard as he could, all the way up the front steps of the house, into the house, through the living room. I was crawling as hard as I could back to the kitchen and hoped that in the kitchen my mother would see what he was doing and make him stop. And I finally got back to the kitchen, and she would not lift a finger to make him stop. And at that point I ceased loving my mother, and don't think I ever regained true sons. No. My mother was a sweet lady, very frail. She had a lot of Ozark characteristics. She had a lot of common sense, which I may have inherited from her. She had a lot of charity. She was deeply religious and tried to make me religious too, but I gradually weaned myself from religion to her dismay. In my later years, I was a great disappointment to my mother. I don't remember that my father ever read a book of mine, but I know definitely that my mother read Lightning Bug. And the only thing she ever said about it was she said, "Darling, you have a place in Lightning Bug where the cats openly make love. Darling, I will have you know, cats do not do that in the open. They crawl under the porch to do it." That's the only comment my mother ever made about any of my writing. She outlived my father by 7 years. Spent a lot of her later years in nursing home. I tried to be a dutiful son and visit her as often as I could, but I've had very guilty conscience for not paying more attention to her during her last year. She was becoming senile and incontinent and just deteriorating the way that old people do. And when she died, she was buried right beside my father with a double tombstone at the Washington Cemetery at Rose Creek. And I went to her funeral. But I did not. You went to her funeral too, did I cry at her funeral? No. I did not cry at her funeral. When I was 12 walking, I walked all day long in the farmer's market, called the Curb Market, selling produce to whoever wanted to buy produce. And it was a very hot July day, and there was a big basket of peaches. If I had had the sense to take that peach over to the water faucet and turn on the faucet and rinse it off, I might possibly have spared myself contracting meningococcal meningitis. But the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in the hospital and I had been unconscious for several days. The doctor told me there was an epidemic of the disease in Little Rock. Several children had been killed or blinded by it, that I should consider myself lucky that the only thing wrong with me was that I had lost my hearing. Back to your question about being stoic, That was the first big thing to be told about, that I was no longer able to hear. And I went for a long time not able to hear a thing. I had tinnitus in my ears, which allowed me to hear imaginary sounds. And the imaginary sounds I heard were crickets, cicadas, the sounds of the night in Rice Creek. So that when I went back to Rice Creek after recovering from my illness, I could not hear anything else that. I could distinctly hear those sounds of the summer night that I tried to capture in my room. My tinnitus changes from day to day. I have no control over it. Sometimes when everything is going right, I can hear all of my favorite symphonies, concertos, and my tinnitus. Other days when things aren't going right, my tinnitus is just a constant, monotonous, screeching, drowning roar. If I listen to it right now, I hear a kind of melody, but I can't identify it. I don't think it's really changed all that much over the decades. I've become more and more accustomed to it. So some people are practically driven mad by their tinnitus. I've had letters and read stories about people who developed tinnitus later in life and it just drove them out of their wits. But I guess I had my tinnitus early enough to get used to it. And now I practically take it for granted. But I've always believed that I was destined to lose my hearing at exactly the point where the Ozark folk speech was undergoing the transition to modern speech. And all of the old Ozark words and pronunciations and accents and meanings were being lost and forgotten. I heard the Ozarks language as it was before it disappeared and embedded it more firmly into my memory because I could no longer hear it, nor could anyone else. Kim is always telling me things that I should be glad I can't hear, like the refrigerator goes on in the middle of the night. I've never heard that. The little sounds and squeaks and peeps and chirps and little noises that are part of your everyday life. I've never heard. And those are going to know any person who is blessed or saddled with normal hearing has to endure.
Oh, wait. Okay. She's putting ice in the glass. Noise.
A lot of things that I don't have to endure. And you can't turn it off. The Charlie Pit was my first novel, first published novel, published by Random House, 1965, from the offices of my good friend William Starwin. I sent a novel called Land's Ramble to his editor, Robert Loomis, at Random House. Loomis read it and said he didn't think Random House could publish it, but he would be glad to see anything new that I was working on. And I just happened to have finished the first 100 pages of Cherry Pit. So I sent those to him and he gave me a contract for it. And from that point on, I sent in each chapter as I wrote it. And he would jump out over it. I have a thick correspondence between myself and Loomis trying to make corrections or substitutions or eliminations from my manuscript. I finally got the thing finished when I was living in William Starnes' guest house, Roxbury, Connecticut, and sent it to Loomis. He suggested extensive revisions, which I had to make before he could accept it. Cherry Pit would never have been published if Starnes had not read it. Because not only did he help me find Loomis and let him have it, he read the book itself when it was in manuscript and made quite a number of important suggestions, criticisms of things that was wrong with it that I took out. And I also cut it practically in half at Starnes' suggestion. I made friends with him very early, right after Set This House on Fire came out. And when I revealed to him that I had written the novel myself, I hated to do it, but it was kind of sneaky to make friends with him, writing lots of letters full of admiration, and then tell him that I was an aspiring novelist myself. But it didn't bother him, and he said he would send it to his publisher and see what happened. Loomis did not have Starnes' sense of humor or mine, and he missed a lot of my intentions in the Cherry Pit. But the final Cherry Pit was a compromise between the book that he saw and the book that I saw. I came up with the idea from the fact that in an interview at that time, Starnes had said, "There's an expression, life is a bowl of cherries, and those who write about the pits are in for it." So I got the idea for the Cherry Pit from that quotation of Starnes. The main character, Clifford Stone, is not autobiographical. I tried in every way to make him different from myself. In the original draft, there was an autobiographical character who was like myself and was tired and had been a classmate of Clifford's in college. I took him out eventually. He was intended to be a main character of the book. The book, in many respects, follows the plot and characterization of Starnes' novel, Set This House on Fire, which had a considerable impact on me at the time. For example, one of the main characters in Starnes' novel is the Italian police sergeant, Luigi. And I put Hawkins into the Cherry Pit just to make him more like Sergeant Luigi. The final shape of the novel was considerably different from when I first started out writing. I had no idea what I was going to write about. It was experimental. I wanted to write a novel, and I wrote it as I went along. And when I was all finished with it, Loomis had to revise it. I sent it to Starnes himself, and he read it and made a number of suggestions for changes which I incorporated into it. But his letter of criticism ended with the words, "They will build to you someday monuments, even in Little Rock." Meant to be encouraging.
What did you learn from Styron's work?
The love of words. Styron has tremendous appreciation for the English language, which he claims he got from reading Flaubert and Fitzgerald. I don't know where he got it, but it's mostly Styron as far as I'm concerned. And I tried to emulate it. America's past is over. It's lost. It's vanished. Clifford was a specialist in investigating aspects of the vanished past, which ought to still be with us. In the acronym VAP for Vanished American Past, that suggests evaporated, which was what happened to the American past. Faulkner said the past isn't past, it's not even, how did he put it? No, the past is not over, it's not even past. Well, he's welcome to feel that, but what you did an hour ago, you can never recapture. I had no trouble once we had agreed on the final version, Random House published it. I lost my agent. He quit the agency just before it was published. So I was without an agent during a crucial time for the appearance of the book, and it just flopped. I think 2,000 copies were printed and sold about half of them. But it was nominated for the Faulkner Prize for Best First Novel, and it was runner-up to Cormac McCarthy, Orchard Keeper. The 2006 author would find much to admire in the Trapitz author, a certain fire that he could not recapture because he's too old. And it was full of youthful zest and wildness and experimentation. That author would not be able to impart any of that to the later author. If I then had been given the privilege of saying something to myself now, it would be more in the way of congratulations than it would be in the way of advice. And myself now, I could not tell that kid anything other than don't be so disappointed when you and Cormac McCarthy come up together for the Faulkner Prize and McCarthy wins it. Don't let it get you down. My advice for him would not be about writing, but about living the life of the writer without getting too discouraged. Many writers become alcoholics because they cannot assimilate the chemical into their system safely. At certain points in my life, I was an extremely heavy drunker. Heavy drinking, as opposed to alcoholism, can open up your perspective on your own soul. You can unlock pathways that you did not know about. It can simply make you feel good enough to tackle the arduous business of writing. But as I have adequately demonstrated, it is not necessary in order to produce books. So many great writers practically did away with themselves with alcohol, which I would have done if Kim had not come along and made me sober up. So many of them have destroyed themselves from drinking. And drinking is supposed to be a kind of badge of honor for the creative writer. But I simply drank because I enjoyed the taste of it. I never wrote while I was drinking. All of my drinking was done at the day's end after my work day was over. My avatars are a way of letting off steam, letting off some of my own frustration, letting off my own sense of lack of recognition, lack of achievement. I would not worry that any of those avatars felt that writing was a helpful activity. It gets all of them into a certain degree of trouble, a certain degree of dissatisfaction. My second novel was called A Work of Fiction and was rejected by Loomis. It was meant to be the life story of Albert Pike, an actual Arkansas hero, the founder of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and a Civil War general. The narrator, whose name was Harington, and was an actual Arkansas novelist named Harington. No age, just starts with an A. He narrated The Sword and was the first appearance of my persona in one of my books. But Loomis rejected it. My agent at the time, Yvonne Barnow, had been agent for Faulkner and Fitzgerald and several big names, and he had handled several of my short stories that were published in Esquire. He read A Work of Fiction and said it reminded him too much of John Barth, so he didn't think he could do anything with it. So I lost my second agent. I got a third agent, Candida Onadio, who was called the den mother of black humor, and represented Joseph Heller and a whole lot of big names. She was wild about A Work of Fiction, sent it to an editor at Harbour Road. He said he wouldn't have that. He'd drop a contract any day. I waited and waited and waited. My family was hungry. I had no salary during the summertime. Finally, I heard that he was getting a divorce and had changed his mind about publishing A Work of Fiction. A few months after that, he died of a heart attack. But it's too late for him to take A Work of Fiction. Candida Donadio sent it out to several other publishers. They all turned it down. Meanwhile, I had finished my third novel, Lightning Bug from the beginning. The title came from Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. But of course, lightning bug is a common expression in the Ozarks for firefly. This was meant to be my swan song to the Ozarks. I've often called Bug my favorite novel. I've been rereading it lately in the process of writing. Enduring the life story of Nathan Bourne, I stop and ask myself, why can't I write like this anymore? She said life is full of dangers. He says, why, for all you might know, I might even be one of them sex fiends myself. You sure don't much look like one. Can't never tell. Them that don't look it is probably the most likely. Do you feel like a sex fiend? Well, by nature, I generally feel pretty harmless, but any man will get feeling kind of roosterish after looking at you long enough. She says, now that's too bad, because roosters can't last more than a poke or two. Nathan was based on two people. A woman from Grace Creek who came. She was confined to the Arkansas State Hospital in Little Rock. A mad woman. But she had visiting privileges. And she came out to our house in Little Rock when I was a kid and visited. I had a pretty good visit. Didn't seem crazy to me, but I was just a kid. But as she was leaving, she fell down on her knees and said to my mother, Jimmy, please keep me. Don't take me back to that place. I will do anything for you. I will cook for you. I'll sweep for you. I'll do anything you ask me. Please don't take me back to that bug house. Of course, my mother had to ignore her, but that quotation of hers finds its way into the Lightning Bug, and it's about to find its way into Endure. She was also based partly on, I had a favorite cousin, second cousin, my mother's first cousin, and she was sort of an artist model for the image of Nathan. She wasn't nearly as beautiful as Nathan. Nathan as a name was just one. I wanted a name that was pretty. And I probably found it in a book of God's names. Everett, I knew was probably, if his name had been Everett, which it was not, they would probably have called him Everett. And I probably remembered reading Every Man, the medieval morality play. I read that and I taught that in college. And I might have been thinking of Everett from that. But the night of for I had a Church of Christ preacher. When I was growing up, his name was Louis. Not Louis, but Louis B-A-L-F. He lived in Johnson, Arkansas. But he was a kind of stoic writer. And at least once a month, he came out to Grace Creek and preached at Grace Creek. In the vicinity of Grace Creek is a famous stream called Bow Creek, named after the Bows who lived around it. And I had a suspicion, although I never knew, that Lord Bow might have been descended from those Bows. And that's why he favored Grace Creek and not to come out and preach. No charge. He didn't even get the proceeds of a collection plate. But he wasn't a fiery preacher, but he was a very good preacher, very warm. I took a shine to him. He was my personal hero in the way that most kids that age had action comic book heroes, like Captain Marvel, Superman, whatever. Lloyd Bell was my hero. And I got to the point where going through a phase of my life in which my mind seemed to be getting away from me. I'd be having such a wild, weird succession of thoughts that I would feel as if I were going crazy. Whenever that happened, I would simply summon up the name Lori Bell, and it would bring me back from the brink of insanity. I walked that into Harington, in which Johnny says that he thinks of every deal, and the name every deal is a play upon Lori Bell. Just the thought of the name every deal would bring him back from madness and save him. In Harington, there are many different levels of longing. There's Donnie's longing for Latha. There's Latha's longing just for something that is not here. Longing is a desire to possess or be in contact with something you do not have, usually inaccessibly. So I sent the manuscript off to Canada Donadio. And after she had pretty much given up on Walter fiction, she tried to find a publisher for Harington. And finally, Seymour Lawrence at Delacourt. Seymour Lawrence was a pretty well-known publisher of young experimental novelists. Lawrence took it and decided to publish it. It got a great review in Time magazine, which caused Sam Lawrence to increase the print order by 3,000. None of them sold. I think in so many ways, it's the most imaginative of all my novels. It's the sweetest of all my novels. It's the most powerful love story of all my novels. It's always been very close to my heart, and it was probably my great disappointment in its failure that made me determined to keep on writing about Seymour until somebody noticed. What happens to Donnie in the end? He's lost in the woods. He was lost in the woods. He's still lost in the woods. Don't ask me what happened to him. No, yes, he's still out here in the woods trying to find his way home. I don't know. Salvation is the promise of going to heaven after death, which is offered to people who repent, confess, and believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Rapture is a term that was never used in the Church of Christ, so I can't give you the Church of Christ's view of rapture. but it means to be taken. The words related to rape, rapture and rape, to be taken by the Lord, removed from the sins of this world.
But you weren't really a Church of Christ preacher.
I most certainly was. You didn't know that?
Were you ordained?
No Church of Christ preacher was ordained to the extent that anyone can be a Church of Christ preacher. And none of them had been ordained or had any special schooling. I was a Church of Christ preacher in the sense that every Sunday I got up and preached. Fornication is when one bee hits on top of the other bee and deposits his original sin was a sin of disobedience. Adam and Eve were put in the Garden of Eden and told, you may eat anything here except don't eat this particular fruit. I don't know what was so special about that goddamn fruit, but why he didn't want anybody eating it. But maybe it was just a test of their obedience. And they violated it and thereby committed the original sin for which mankind continued to pay the price until the Lord came along and redeemed mankind from its original sin. I had written about half of some other place, the right place, when Lightning-Bug appeared. I needed just one more spring to write the poetry section, and in the summer to write the final prose section. I sent it off to Seymour Lawrence, who had published Lightning-Bug. And he did not want it. The story, once again, was not that there was anything wrong with the book. It was that I had published 2 novels which were complete failures commercially. And no publisher wants to take a chance with somebody with a record like that. I was so proud of the book when I was finishing it late that summer that I kept writing Candida and saying, I'm almost done with my masterpiece. Let me know when you're going on your summer vacation so I can be sure that the manuscript gets to you when you're not on vacation. I got no answer to that. Wrote her again, said the same thing. No answer. Wrote her a 3rd time, same answer. So I finally just sent her the manuscript. I said, here it is, it's finished. I'm proud of it. And I got a postcard from her sister saying, Mr. Nadio has gone on a month's vacation, and you may expect to hear from her when she returns. I really went through the rough, wrote back to the assistant and said, this manuscript has to be read at once. So the assistant read it and said, well, I think it's a great book, but I have to wait for her to get back. And I was so pissed off at her when she finally didn't return that I was hardly cooperative when she tried to send it out to several different publishers. Meanwhile, Sam Lawrence's first reader, who had accepted Lightning-Bug for Sam Lawrence, he had left Sam Lawrence to become a first reader for Little Brown. And he came to visit me one day because a friend of his had read this and thought it was the greatest novel he ever read, and he had to meet me. And I came up and spent a pleasant afternoon visiting. His name was McDonough, Richard McDonough. And Dick, as he was getting up to leave, he said, well, what are you working on these days? And I said, well, I just finished a novel called Somebody Place Her in the Right Place. Would you like to take a look at it? And he said, oh, I'd be to Daddy. He had it in a grocery bag. It's a huge manuscript. 700 pages of manuscript in a grocery bag. And I just gave it to Dick. He took it home with him. In 2 weeks, I heard from Llewellyn Allen III, senior editor at Little Brown, saying they absolutely had to publish it. The rest is history, as I say. Louis, as he was called, made very few changes. He cleaned up some of the socks. The socks were too bold for him. As it turned out, the Little Brown printer was just down the road from my house in Putney. When they were selling type for the poetry pages, they invited me to come down and make sure that everything was absolutely correct. I thought that was a fate. The fate thing had something to do with getting me a printer in the neighborhood, but it was published mostly in the firm in which I wrote it. I'd given a copy to my friend and neighbor, John Irvin. And John had read it and was so consumed with envy that he wrote a hideous diatribe trying to attack it, in which he said, who wants to read novels about kids? That was before he himself had written 5 or 6 novels about kids. And just about every criticism he made of it is something that he himself has done in a later novel. But his criticism was sort of the end of our close friendship, but it was not, did not deter my determination to get it published. But even though it was a Book of the Month Club alternate seduction, it did not sell well enough to pay off the advance. I lost track of his socks, but we don't say socks around here. We say eros. Eros was the Greek god of love, the son of Venus and Aphrodite. So we get our word erotic from eros.
What was the genre of your first time making love? Comedy, tragedy, farce, melodrama, romance, or history play? Please elaborate.
You mean us?
No.
First time ever. Well, the one that I would apply to was smithing. I was put recreation. There was nothing comic, tragic, farcical, melodramatic, romantic, or historical about it. 2 people just got in bed, see what happened.
How old were you?
How old?
17, maybe 16. I would have to research that. I think 16 or 17. It was an older woman, and it was her private home, and I had been there for quite some time before we finally got around, 'to, with the help of several beers, I went up behind her and gave her a hug, and I said, "You know what I want to do?" And she simply nodded her head, and that was the last spoken word.
In some other place, the right place, doesn't Day say to Diana, "Do you know what I want to do?"
Yeah. There's something from my life that creeps under the cloud of my books. I think probably then one of the very best writers of sex is William Stein, who has inspired me in so many other ways. But I've read them all right, you could have said. He could have looked at you strangely, not understanding, uncertain, and then have asked, "All right, what?" "All right, prove it." "You honestly mean it?" You could have nodded. "You mean?" He would have been suddenly uncomfortable, not expecting you to give in so readily. "You mean me and you? I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Now, do you honestly mean that it's all right if you would, if me and you were to sleep?" "Not sleep." What circumstances inspired the attempt? I don't know, I'm just horny, and I wanted to put some sex in my novels, as I usually do, and so. Woman is the opposite of men. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Without woman, man would commit suicide. Women need to take out the garbage, mow the lawn, do a little job around the house, and on rare occasions perform in bed in order to I waited for some other place to come out and to see what kind of reception it got, and whether the Book of my club selection would make any money. I waited on that before starting my next novel. The title came first before I wrote any of the text. It was just meant to be a wise-ass title, because it's not really about architecture, but the repetition of that sound, like a dog barking, in the title, Architecture of the Ozark. And it's about my home state, and about one of my favorite subjects. Two of my favorite subjects, architecture and country people. And I knew that this would be the history of Seymour from the beginning, from its first founders. I'd already named them in Edinburgh. Jacob and Noah Ingledew had come so many miles from Tennessee. I had to make up the story of how they got there and what happened to them after they got there. The most challenging novel to write was probably Architecture of the Ozark, because I had to have not only all of the research information about the actual architecture, I had to devise a parallel between the lives of the people and the buildings that they inhabited. And worst of all, I had to keep the thing lively from beginning to end. It had to be, in a sense, my funniest novel. And it had to be clearly a novel despite the fact that it consisted of 20 separate chapters that supposedly were devoted to architecture. Architecture was inspired by 100 years of solitude. It covered generations of the Ingledew family in the same way that 100 years covers generations of the Buendia family. It has a travelling salesman like Eli Willard who reappears recurrently year after year. It's safe to say I could never have written architecture if I had not read 100 Years of Solitude. And I had originally ended each chapter with a list of questions for the student. 12 questions for the student of architecture. Most of these questions were brilliant, but they were mostly facetious. And eventually, Louis Harington, he loved the book even more than he did some other place. He questioned just how necessary those questions were, and I decided to take them out. It took pretty much the form I intended for it to, except, as I point out in the acknowledgement, in its original form, the novel was much more structurally explicit than it is now, replete with such language as joist, beam, stud, timber, pole, erection, rear elevation, door, gable, sill, rail, and jamb. I am very grateful to my editor, Llewellyn Hallam III, for persuading me to leave such things to the reader's imagination, and I trust the reader's imagination has succeeded. In addition to removing certain passages, he made 2 other sweeping changes of an important nature. I don't even remember what those were, but he did use the blue pencil, and so in several places where I had been too sexually explicit, he wanted me to tone it down a bit, and I was glad to comply. Then I just wrote it chapter by chapter, generation by generation, building by building, trying to cover my imagination's view of what the architecture of Ozarks looked like. Most of those illustrations in the book, many of them are based on real buildings at Bright Street. The mill, Jacob Ingledew's house, the general store, those were based on real Bright Street buildings. But so many of them were just fabrications, and I mostly did the illustrations as I went along. I've always felt in teaching architecture that any building has a personality. I used to take my students on field trips. We'd go down the street and look at various houses and try to guess not anything about the inhabitants, not anything physically about the house in relation to people, but what personality did the house have? So I thought of each of the 20 buildings in architecture as having a distinct personality, beginning with the primitive, savage, uncivilized character of Fanshaw's hut, and culminating with the obscure but sophisticated double sphere of Vernon Ingledew. Why did you go so long without publishing a book after Architecture of the Architects? My personal life at the time was filled with large and small calamities and with death. My father died. The college where I was teaching died. My marriage died. I was practically killing myself from booze. My life was just a complete mess. So for a period of 11 years, I was in a kind of hiatus of recovery from all of those losses and deaths and disturbances that characterized my life at the time. Why do you still write novels? That assumes that I might have any reason for not writing novels. I can't think of any reason not to write novels unless I had written one so god-awfully bad that I was ashamed of having become a novelist. I've done some novels that weren't as good as my others, but I've never written a really bad novel. As long as I can still write a novel that people will find readable, enjoyable, and maybe get something out of it. I've always told my art students that by definition art is an escape from reality. So that when we return from reality after being immersed in art, we can somehow find reality more bearable, more enjoyable, or more understandable. And I feel that way about all my novels, that they should do one of those things for the reader. And as long as I can still do that, I have no reason to stop writing novels. I expect to write my last novel at the age of 86.
Why 86?
That's when I die, probably.
Why not 96?
If I don't die until I'm 100, I'll be like Hokusai, the famous Japanese printmaker who said, "Oh, if I could only live to be 100, I might learn something about art. If I could live to be 100, I might learn something about writing novels." than if